Swamin namaste natalokabandho karunya sindho patitam bhavabdho mamuddharatmiya kataksha drishtya rijvyati karunya sudhabhivrishtya Swamin namaste Swamin namaste Swamin namaste Swamin namaste Yat kirtanam yat smaranam yadikshanam Yadvandanam yadshravanam yadarhanam Lokasya sadyo vidhunoti kalmasham Tasmai subhadrashravase namo namaha Vichakshanaya charanopasadanat Sangam vyudasyo bhayatontaratmanaha Vindantihi brahmagatim gataklamaha Tasmai subhadrashravase namo namaha Tasmai subhadrashravase namo namaha Tasmai subhadrashravase namo namaha Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru. I offer my pranams to my Guru, Pujya Swami Bhumanandaji Maharaj. I offer pranam to Shri Krishna, who and my Guru are the same. And I offer my pranams to all you devotees who have come and assembled here. Not only today, but all these days, ever since our Satram has started. I have been asked to talk in English. Because of COVID, for the last 2 years, we had online Satram, and our Satram was streamed from our Malayalam channel, Bhagavata Tattva. Since in the Malayalam channel, English talks are not generally streamed, our organizers asked me to talk in Malayalam last 2 years. Giving a talk in Malayalam, a lecture in Malayalam is very difficult for me. I don't know so much of Malayalam. But I made an effort and I talked. Some were very happy. Some expressed their happiness that I had talked in Malayalam. Some found it very sweet, this broken Malayalam of mine. And so I think some of the listeners must be thinking that Mataji should speak in Malayalam. But this time, because it is a physical Satram, and there are some outsiders not knowing Malayalam, they have come. So I've been asked to talk in English. So my talk will be in English. But to give happiness to those who expected me to talk in Malayalam, I'll speak something in Malayalam, I thought. So I have been thinking what I should speak in Malayalam. and let me see how my Malayalam fares. നിങ്ങളിൽ ചിലരൊക്കെ ഞാൻ മലയാളത്തിൽ സംസാരിക്കുമെന്ന് പ്രതീക്ഷിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടാവും. അതുകൊണ്ട് ഞാൻ തുടക്കത്തിൽ കുറച്ച് മലയാളത്തിൽ സംസാരിക്കാം, കുറച്ച് പറയാം. കോവിഡ് കാരണം കഴിഞ്ഞ 2 വർഷവും നമ്മുടെ സത്രം ഓൺലൈനായിരുന്നു അല്ലേ? ഇത്തവണ എല്ലാവരെ നേരിട്ട് കണ്ടിട്ട് വളരെ സന്തോഷം. എല്ലാവരും നേരിട്ട് കാണാൻ സാധിച്ചു. അതുകൊണ്ട് വളരെ സന്തോഷമുണ്ട്. കഴിഞ്ഞ 2 വർഷമായി 2 വർഷവും ഓൺലൈൻ സത്രം ആയിരുന്നു പറഞ്ഞു ഞാൻ. സാധാരണ എല്ലാ വർഷവും ഞാൻ ഇംഗ്ലീഷിലാണ് സത്രത്തിൽ സംസാരിക്കാറ്. കഴിഞ്ഞ 2 വർഷവും നമ്മുടെ മലയാളം ചാനലിന് വേണ്ടി എന്നോട് മലയാളത്തിൽ സംസാരിക്കാൻ പറഞ്ഞിരുന്നു. അത് വളരെ ഒരു ബുദ്ധിമുട്ട കാര്യമാണ്. മലയാളത്തിൽ പ്രഭാഷണം നടത്താൻ എനിക്ക് വല്ലാതെ ഒരു ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുണ്ട്. എന്നാലും ഞാൻ അതിനു വേണ്ടി ശ്രമിച്ചിരുന്നു. ഈ കൊല്ലം സത്രം നേരിട്ടായതുകൊണ്ടും കുറേ മലയാളം അറിയാത്ത ഭക്തന്മാർ ഉള്ളത് കൊണ്ടും എന്നോട് ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ സംസാരിക്കാൻ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ എൻ്റെ പ്രഭാഷണം ഇന്ന് ഇംഗ്ലീഷിലാണ്. എല്ലാ കൊല്ലവും ഞാൻ സ്വാമിജിയോട് ഞാൻ എന്ത് സംസാരിക്കണം എന്ന് ചോദിക്കാറുണ്ട്. മിക്കവാറും സ്വാമിജി എന്നോട് ഒരു ശീർഷകം പറഞ്ഞു തരാറുണ്ട്. ഈ കൊല്ലം സ്വാമിജി പറഞ്ഞു തരുന്ന ശീർഷകം ഇൻസ്പയറിംഗ് തോട്ട്സ് ഫ്രം ശ്രീമദ് ഭാഗവതം. ഇതാണ്. എന്താ? ഭാഗവതത്തിൽ ആവേശോജ്വലം തത്വങ്ങൾ. ഇതാണ് ശീർഷകം. കേട്ടിട്ട് എനിക്ക് സന്തോഷമായി. ഭാഗവതം മുഴുവനും നമുക്ക് ആവേശം നൽകുന്നതാണ്. ഒരു ഉത്തമ ഭക്തനാവാൻ ആവേശം നൽകുന്നു ഭാഗവതം. ഭക്തി എന്താണ്? ഭക്തൻ ആരാണ്? അനന്യഭക്തൻ ആരാണ്? ഒരു അനന്യഭക്തനാവാൻ നമ്മൾ എന്താണ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്? ഇതിനെപ്പറ്റി ഞാൻ ഇന്ന് സംസാരിക്കാൻ പോവുകയാണ്. ഇത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് ഞാൻ ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ തുടങ്ങട്ടെ. എത്ര മലയാളം പറഞ്ഞിട്ടേ ഇപ്പോൾ എനിക്ക് ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ വരുന്നില്ല. Okay. So, actually, I really wish I will learn Malayalam better and better every year, and I will speak very fluently like other speakers. So, the topic is inspiring thoughts from Srimad Bhagavatam. As I told, I think the whole of Bhagavatam is very, very inspiring. And what does it inspire us about? It inspires us to become a true devotee. Everybody thinks Bhagavatam is a text of devotion, and it is. It is a text of devotion, no doubt. But what do we mean by devotion? Who is a devotee? Have we gone into that thought? I think all devotees, by reading Bhagavatam, should think what this Bhagavatam is trying to tell us. Is it only the stories? Is it only about Krishna? It is only to generate some feeling of devotion in us for a time being. What are we to do with that devotion? How do we bring about that devotion into our life so that our life becomes better, our life becomes more and more peaceful, more and more happy, our life becomes less of fear, anxiety, and worry. I think every devotee has to introspect about this. And when we start introspecting, our devotion grows. Why? In Bhagavatam itself, Vyasadeva is writing, Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramahamsyamekam Amalam Jnanam Param Giyate Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarmyam Avishkritam Tat Shrinvan Vipathan Vicharana Paro Bhaktya Vimuchye Naraha. I think many of you know this sloka by heart. But, my dear children, I want to tell you, whenever we read something, we must go into every word. What does it mean? How does it apply to me? So in this shloka, it talks about what is Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is a sacred Purana. Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam. It is very, very dear to all the devotees. Devotees of whom? Devotees of the Supreme Lord, Sri Hari, Vishnu, Mahavishnu, whatever you want to tell. Yasmin Paramahamsyam Ekam Amalam Jnanam Param Giyate. In this Srimad Bhagavatam, what has been talked about? Talked about the supreme knowledge, Jnanam, Param Jnanam, Giyate, has been sung. It's not only written, it has been sung. Shukamuni is singing. And that song is creating so much of ecstasy in the devotees' hearts. Yasmin Paramhamsya Ekam Amalam Jnanam Param Giyate. It exalts the supreme state of pure spiritual knowledge. And this spiritual knowledge, who has that spiritual knowledge? The Paramahamsas, those who are self-realized, God-realized. They have this spiritual knowledge. Tatra, also there, Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam, Naishkarmyam Avishkritam. And then in that text, it is expounding the state of Naishkarmya, where one understands one's real nature, where there is Naishkarmya, one understands oneself as the soul, and there is no ego. Also, it is accompanied by the realization of the knowledge. Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam. There is renunciation. It talks about dispassion, also about bhakti. Tat Shindvan. This is so initially 3 lines describing what is this Srimad Bhagavatam. Then it is said, this is most important. Srimad Bhagavatam we are reading, hearing. See, all of you are coming every day, listening from morning till night. And you are getting the joy, delight, and knowledge also. What has to be given importance is this last line. What is this? Tat Shrinvan Vipathan Vicharana Paro Bhaktya Vimuchye Naraha. It says that this is the text. Bhagavatam is this text. And here all these things are there. Jnana is there, jnana is there, viraga, that is, dispassion is there, bhakti is there. It has to be heard, it has to be read, studied, shrinvan, vipathan. Then comes vicharana paraha. Then one has to think deeply. One has to introspect about what one is reading or listening about. So only then one will gain supreme devotion to the Lord and liberation from the world. So I think the most important inspiring thing in Bhagavatam is to grow devotion, and how that devotion grows into the supreme knowledge. Bhaktihi, viraktihi, bhagavat prabodhaha. The Navayogis are saying that bhaktihi, viraktihi, bhagavat prabodhaha. One must grow devotion to the Lord. And when one grows devotion to the Lord, what happens? Naturally, all other thoughts become less and less. We start loving God. And our love for the world becomes lesser and lesser. And what happens with that? When both of these grow together, ultimately it gives the realization of the Supreme Lord in one's own heart. So, it is also said, Sarva Vedanta Saram Yat Brahmatmaikatva Lakshanam Vastvadvitiyam Tannishtham Kaivalyaika Prayojanam. And this Bhagavatam is the essence of all the Vedanta. It is not only devotion. When we grow in devotion, what happens? Our dispassion to the world grows, and slowly it grows into the spiritual knowledge. Understanding that there is only one Supreme Soul. So, Sarva Vedanta Saram Yat Brahmatmaikatva Lakshanam. This Bhagavatam, it is the essence of all Vedanta based on the truth of non-duality, Advitiyam Vastu, one without a second. And also it is characterized by Brahmatmaikatva Lakshanam. It is characterized by the unity of Atma and Brahman. That Atma and Brahman are the same. That knowledge we get from Bhagavatam. So my dear children, when we listen to Bhagavatam, we listen about God, we listen about Krishna, we listen about various devotees. What happens is that our mind gets full with devotion. We start feeling an elixir in the mind. There is ecstasy sometimes. There is tears and there is Romaharshana. If we are true to this text, we must remember, we must become vicharana paraha. And we must start thinking, all this is happening to me. When I listen, when I read, when I contemplate, my mind goes to a different state where I feel absolutely free. I feel fearless. But as soon as I come into the worldly activities, all this go away. This devotion that we feel, is there any growth in the devotion? Is there any pinnacle for this devotion? How can we grow more and more in devotion so that we become fearless, so that we become absolutely free, so that we feel everybody to be our own? This vichara should be the most inspiring thought while we deal with Bhagavatam. Many of us, I think many of you, read Bhagavatam very regularly. You regularly read, you chant, You listen, go to the Bhagavata Saptahas, and there is a lot of joy in it. But what after that? That has to be thought. So, there is a beautiful shloka which says, Avismritik Krishna Padaravindayoh Shinotyabhadrani Shamam Tanoti Cha Sattvasya Shuddhim Paramatma Bhaktim Jnanam Cha Vijnana Viraga Yuktam Avismritik Krishna Padaravindayoh Shinotyabhadrani Shamam Tanoti Cha Sattvasya Shuddhim Paramatma Bhaktim Jnanam Cha Vijnana Viraga Yuktam. What does this shloka say? Beautiful shloka. And what did I tell you? Whenever we read a shloka, it is not only to chant. My dear children, I want to tell you this. You know, we regularly read Bhagavatam. We make it a point, every day I will read 1 or 2 chapters, and we do it. That is much better than anybody not reading. But there is a higher state also. While reading, at least 1 shloka, 2 shlokas, it should strike you. At least few words should strike you, and you should live up to those words. What is this shloka saying? Avismritik Krishna Padaravindayoh. What does it mean? Avismritihi Krishna Padaravindayoh. Lord Shri Krishna's holy lotus feet. If we contemplate on Lord Krishna, you know, thinking of Lord Krishna, just by imagining him, it gives so much of joy. So much of joy. So, that Krishna's holy lotus feet. And what do we do with that lotus feet? It says we must have avismritihi. Incessantly, continuously, unbrokenly, ceaselessly we must think about the Krishna's feet. Do we do that? We are reading Bhagavatam. Please, I am telling you, you should assess yourself. All devotees should assess oneself. It is not only saying God and becoming ecstatic with devotion. Assess yourself. Avismritik Krishna Padaravindayoh. We must have unbroken remembrance of the holy lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Are we having it? How long? As long as you are reading Bhagavatam maybe, as long as you are listening maybe, as long as you are meditating maybe, as long as you are chanting maybe. Rest of the time, if you have been given your thought for 1 or 2 hours on Krishna, rest of the 22 hours minus whatever you have taken for sleeping and eating, taking bath, rest of the time, what are we thinking about? We are thinking about ourselves, our own body and our family, our possessions, our attainments, all those things. Are we thinking of Krishna? Who can say, even in this assembly, that I am having avismriti of Krishna? So when we read this, we should think, can I become like this? How can I become like this? Who are the devotees, the true devotees, like Dhruva, like Prahlada, like many others, Prithu, many others, who had incessant, continuous remembrance of the holy lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Now this says, if you have incessant remembrance, what happens? Shinot abhadrani. If we can remember Sri Krishna continuously, always, it destroys all evil tendencies. all of us have various tendencies, all our traits. Some are very angry by nature, some are very lazy by nature, some are very blameful by nature, some are very doubtful by nature, some are very fearful by nature, always anxious, always worrying. So these traits, they give us suffering. Whichever trait is not good, they give us suffering. So it says that if you can think about Krishna, what will happen? It will destroy all the evil tendencies. All these tendencies will become destroyed. And when these become removed, why is our mind agitated? Our mind remains agitated and disturbed because of all these tendencies, because of fear, because of anxiety, because of worry. That is why the mind remains agitated and disturbed, afflicted. The mind is not restful. Mind is not peaceful. We are always thinking something, wanting something, desiring something. So the mind is not peaceful. Now, when all these tendencies get removed, what happens? All these waves have gone, so the mind becomes calm and tranquil. Shamam tanoticha. So we start from avismriti Krishna padaravindayoho. So if we can make a habit of remembering Sri Krishna continuously, we forget, no doubt, but make a habit. Again you try to remember. And if we make a habit, what will happen? Because the thought of Krishna gives us joy and delight, which is pure in nature, that delight is unpolluted. So what happens? All the evil tendencies get destroyed and the mind becomes tranquil. And when the mind becomes tranquil, calm, peaceful, sattvasya shuddhim, the whole being becomes purified. When we are agitated, we are not pure. The greatest impurity is desire. And every human being, we are full of desires. Even if we have enough, we desire. We are never fulfilled, we are never contented. So, our desire makes us impure. Now, when the mind becomes calm, the mind has become calm, it doesn't want anything more. There is no desire at all. The whole being becomes purified. Sattvasya shuddhim, paramatma bhaktim. And then the love for God, the Supreme Lord, whatever love and devotion we have, that grows. It doesn't grow because our love is divided. Our love is for God, no doubt. We love God. We have devotion for God. But our love and devotion is to the family and the world much more than that. For children, grandchildren, house, possessions, prestige, recognition, post, all those things. So, when the mind becomes calm and tranquil, when the whole being becomes purified, then the love for God, it has no hindrance anymore. It has learned to become contented with whatever it has. And then the jnana comes. This leads us to the jnana, not only the jnana of the self or the Supreme Soul or God. It also gives us the realization of the self, realization of God, along with dispassion to the world. So this says, avismriti Krishna padaravindayoho shinotyabhadrani shamam tanoti cha sattvasya shuddhim paramatma bhaktim jnanam cha vijnana viraga yuktam. Now, about whom are these being told all these for the devotee who has practiced. There are devotees who have practiced and who has this avismriti, like Prahlada and Dhruva and all others. So, we have to think, how can we also become like that? Sakala bhuvana madhye nirdhanastepi dhanyah nivasati hridayesham Shri Harer Bhaktireka Harirapi Nijalokam Sarvathato Vihaya Pravishati Hriditesham Bhakti Sutropanadhaha Sakala Bhuvana Madhye Nirdhanastepi Dhanyah. So when a devotee has all these conditions, all these characteristics, a devotee for whom God is all his mind he has for God. He thinks without any hindrance, without any break, he will be thinking about God. So this shloka, it talks about such a devotee, and it says, such a devotee who has ekanta bhakti, eka bhakti, ananya bhakti for God in his heart, that devotee, even if he has no possession, that is, he has no wealth, he is considered to be a dhanya. Do you get it? What I am saying? Sakala bhuvana madhye nirdhanaha tepi dhanyaha nivasati hridayesham Shri Harer Bhaktireka. If for any devotee, if any devotee has ananya bhakti, eka bhakti in his heart for God, even if he had no wealth, no riches, when people do not have wealth or riches, they are considered to be poor. Everybody will look down upon them, considering this, oh, he is poor, he has nothing. This shloka is saying that their treasure is what? Treasure is Ananya Bhakti, Ekanta Bhakti. So Sakala Bhuvana Madhye, in all the worlds, even if a person does not have wealth or possession or money, that person will be called a dhanya because he has the greatest treasure, the most priceless treasure. What it is? Bhakti for God in his heart. And what does Hari do for that devotee? Harirapi nijalokam sarvathato vihaya pravishati hriditesham bhakti sutropanadhaha. And Sri Hari also, what does he do? When Hari finds that there is a devotee for whom devotion for the Supreme Lord has grown to such an extent that he does not care about the world, he does not care about his body, he does not care about anything else. His love is supreme, and that love is for God. Then Sri Hari also takes seat in his heart, and he enters there, and he gets bound by devotion of that person. Do we want to be like this? Is the question. Do we want to be like this? We want to be. We have to be. We can become. That is the thing. Just don't read it. Read it about a person, Ananya Bhakta, who has Ananya Bhakti for God, and God has entered his heart and has got tied up by the cord of love. It is not about anybody else. Every one of us can become like this. Srimad Bhagavatam is inspiring us to become like this. My dear children, I am telling you this. Srimad Bhagavatam inspires us to become an Ananya Bhakta, not only a Bhakta. All of us, we feel we are Bhaktas. We are bhaktas. We have a lot of love and devotion for God, no doubt. Many go to the temples, many do worship every day in the house. Many read Srimad Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam or other spiritual texts every day routinely. They won't even drink water before all these are done, Vishnu Sahasranama chanting and this chanting and that worship. After getting up in the morning, taking bath, lighting a lamp, incense sticks, and all these spiritual and devotional practices. Very good. Very good. It should be done. But don't stop there. Do not do every day the same thing. And not using the intelligence and the mind to think, to do vichara, to think. Every day I'm doing the same thing. Is my bhakti increasing? Or is it at that same step? What is to be done if I too have to become an Ananya Bhakta? So Srimad Bhagavatam, through all its narrations, many of you must have read Srimad Bhagavatam more than I have done. I think so. Many of you read it every day. I'm not reading it every day. But whenever I read, I become identified, identified with the characters. I become Dhruva, I become Prahlada, I become Uddhava. I become every character. All the devotion, all the talks, I feel I am that. I feel them. But I know that I must make an effort to become like them. Become like Prahlada. Become like Dhruva. So this is the inspiring thing which Srimad Bhagavatam tells us to do. Now, Srimad Bhagavatam says, Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje ahaitukya pratihata yayatma samprasidati. What does it mean? It says that the supreme dharma for anybody, any human being, is to grow devotion for the Lord. What kind of devotion? As I said, we all feel we are devotees. That is why when we come here, in the midst of all devotees, we are so delighted, so ecstatic. And the Nama Sankirtana goes on every day. It is very nice to watch from here. I like to watch from here. How devotees, they completely forget themselves and they dance and they walk, they sing. Yes, we are all devotees. But what does Srimad Bhagavatam define as bhakti? What is bhakti? What kind of bhakti we should have? It says, Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje. It is our dharma to grow devotion for the Lord. The Supreme Lord, the invisible Lord. What kind of bhakti? Ahaituki and apratihata. What is ahaituki? That is unmotivated, without any reason, without any motive. Not like this, I'm giving puja, so bless my family. You go, everybody is going to this puja stall, no? There is a stall here also. Give puja for this much, that much money and get the prasadam. Wishing what? Can you tell me? Can you tell me mostly what people wish? My family should be all right. Nobody should have any disease. My son should get married. My daughter should pass. Or my son wants to go to a foreign country with a job, it should happen. I'm having a case in the court, I should win. This only. Who is going and praying, my God, give me Ananya Bhakti. I want to become like Prahlada. I want to say like Prahlada, oh Lord, if you want to give me a boon that there is no desire in my mind. How many of us are saying that? So, Srimad Bhagavatam, right in the beginning, in the first skandha itself, is describing what is bhakti. What is bhakti? Ahaituki apratihata. Ahituke is unmotivated. Without any reason, I must have bhakti. Not that I'll have bhakti, I am giving you bhakti, so please do this for me. Fulfill my wishes. Oh God, I am giving you so much of worship with so many things, so many fruits, so many items. So fulfill my wish. I have given you this. Not like that. I love you, O God, because I cannot but love you. I find that you are the most lovable in this world. And I want to become that kind of a devotee where I feel you always, inside me, outside me, this side, that side, upwards, downwards, everywhere. Govinda parirambhitaha, like Prahlada was. He felt that he is being embraced by God. His thoughts never went out of Krishna. Whether he was sitting, whether he was walking, whether he was eating, whether he was lying down or sitting, every time he felt he is being embraced by God. Embraced by God. So, ahaituki apratihata yayatma samprasidati. And apratihata means it will have no obstruction. Many, some days will be very, very devoted, and some days we will not. We do not feel that devoted. Some things come up, some situation in the house, disease or death or something you wished very much was not fulfilled, so you become very depressed, so you forget about God or you start hating God. Not that. Whatever happens in whichever situation God keeps me, I have unbroken love and devotion for God. Apratihata. Anything happening to me, my love and my devotion doesn't get reduced at all. So, ahaituki apratihata yayatma, that kind of bhakti, what does it bring about? Yayatma samprasidati. When one has that kind of a bhakti, where the bhakti is unmotivated, unconditional, no condition. There is no condition. And it is apratihata, unobstructed. Then the mind becomes peaceful and tranquil. The supreme peace, the eternal peace dawns. Don't we need it? Is there anybody in this assembly who will say, I do not want peace, I do not want happiness? Is there anybody? Every one of us, we want peace and happiness. But we find that our peace and happiness doesn't stay with us. Some situations we are peaceful, we are happy. But because that peace, that happiness, dependent on objects which are changeful. All objects are changeful. All situations in life are changeful. So our peace, our happiness, our joy, our delight, even our dukkha, all depends on some situations, some objects, some people. And since that is dependent on objects or situations which are changeful, our peace and happiness, objects being changeful themselves, the peace and joy that we gain from them never can become eternal. So that is why whatever sukha we get, the sukha does not stay. Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkhayonaya evate adyantavantah kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. Shri Krishna is telling Arjuna that, oh Arjuna, with your senses, you are engaging and interacting with many objects of the senses. The eyes see, the nose smells, the ears hear, the mouth, it tastes, that skin touches. So the objects of the senses, they perceive. But whatever they are perceiving, we feel that if we get them, we will be happy. But they are dukkhayonaya. They are wombs of misery. Because suppose whatever we desire, we get them, we are happy. But it doesn't stay with us. It goes away. Then we are dukkhayo. Again we are sad. If our wishes are fulfilled, we have got the object, whatever we wanted, we will be anxious and worried how to preserve it. Suppose lot of wealth you have desired and you get the wealth, then becomes the trouble how to save it, how to increase it, how to protect it from the thieves. So always there is anxiety and worry. That is why it is said, dukkhayonaya evate, adyantavantaha, and they appear and disappear. Na teshu ramate buddhaha. Those who are wise, they are not rejoicing in the little short-lived sukha that we get. And here it is saying, if you develop unconditional love and devotion for God, the Supreme, unobstructed love for God, the Supreme, then you will have peacefulness. Yayatma samprasidati. The mind will become placid, peaceful, quiet, tranquil. Samprasidati, eternally, supremely, which will never go. So, this bhakti, how is it in Bhagavatam? It says, as in Parikshit, King Parikshit, you know that he asked Shukadeva that for a person who is about to die, what should he hear, what should he chant, what should he remember, what are his duties, etc., etc. Please tell me. My days are numbered. I have only 7 days in my life. So I want to know what I should do so that my mind becomes completely absorbed in Sri Hari. Why did he say so? He also thought he was a great devotee. People knew him to be devotees. But when he insulted Shamika Maharshi, he understood that he was under the grip of anger, impatience, intolerance. So he said, these are not the qualities of a devotee. So, and my mind, now I understand, is partly absorbed in the thought of God and mostly absorbed in the thought of my kingdom, my wealth, my treasury, my armory, my soldiers and all that. So, now that I know I have no time in my life, I must think about God and get absorbed in Him. So he asked this question to Shukadeva. And Shukadeva replied him. In that, Shukadeva says that if you want to get rid of fear, Parikshit, see the whole Bhagavatam narration is about what? Parikshit asking question and Shukadeva replying. Why did Parikshit ask question? Because he was afraid on the 7th day he was going to die. Fear of death. So, Shukadeva is saying, after hearing the king's questions, that, O king, whatever you have asked me is a very great question. And anybody who knows the Shastras, the Atmavits, those who know about the self, the soul, God, they will all say that your question is very good. Because whatever I am going to reply, in reply to your question, it will not only be helpful and beneficial for you alone, for ages, whoever listens, whoever reads, whoever does manana on these, for them it will be useful. There he says that if you want to get rid of fear, then listen, shrotabhyah, kirtitavyascha, smartabhyah. About whom? He says, O king, See, this is the only thing. Right in the second skandha, when Shukadeva is replying to Parikshit, he says that, "O king, you have asked this question, your question is very good. There are many things which people can hear. But people are always eager to hear. There are thousands of things they are very much interested to hear. But nobody is interested in hearing about the Atma Tattva. Very few will hear about the Atma Tattva. They do not give their mind. Where is their mind? Their mind is in the family, their mind is in their house, wife, children, their cattle, their wealth, their possessions, and all that. And people, they are spending their time throughout the day only running after earning money, saving money, and looking after the family. Along with that, they should also know that one must think of God, think of the Atma, thinking of which one can become Yayatma samprasidati. One can become eternally peaceful, eternally happy. They do not think about that. And that is why, because the short-lived pleasures go away in no time, you may be getting a lot of sukha, but all those are short-lived. Even say, in one's life, one has not got a lot of dukkha, but one becomes old. And old age brings dukkha. The body is not able to move about in the manner in which one was able to do earlier. Many of the things which one was able to do earlier is not able to do. So there is a feeling of helplessness, feeling of, why is it that I am like this? Why God has given me this kind of a problem? So even if one escapes the dukkhas, the so-called dukkhas, say one has money, one has very good family, has a very big house, people to look after, but the old age and disease brings about dukkha. So one cannot escape dukkha in life. So Shukadeva is saying, "O king, if you want to remove the dukkha or fear of death or fear of anything in life, you have to grow in your devotion. O king, you are now fearful that on the seventh day you are going to die. Why this fear is coming to you? You can very well be united with God and completely remove this fear. So anybody who wants to get rid of fear in this life should Shrotabhyaha, Kirtitabhyaha, Smartabhyaha. About whom? Sri Hari. He says, listen about Sri Hari, listen about Bhagavan, listen and Kirtitabhyaha. You sing about him, sing about his glory, tell each other the glories, and Smartabhyaha. Remember him. Avismriti Krishna Padaravindayoho. Think about him. Think about him. Don't think about your family alone. Even in this assembly, my dear children, we are so much full with devotion, dancing and listening and dancing. Can you tell me, do you pray that the thoughts about my family, the botherations of my family should get removed from my mind? I should be free. I should be free. This is what has inspired me, my dear children. If you ask me what has been my inspiring thought reading Bhagavatam, when I started reading Bhagavatam, I felt Sri Krishna is moving about with me. The little Krishna is moving about with me everywhere. Everywhere I would see. But then I felt, this is a feeling. If this is the truth, then the fear should go from the mind. All kinds of sufferings of the mind should go away. The mind should become absolutely calm and quiet. Mind should be full with the thought of others, full for the feelings for others. This should happen. So, one must feel how to become absolutely surrounded by God thought. Become Bhagavanmaya. Become Bhagavanmaya. Be embraced by God. So, Yasyam vai shrunyamanayam Krishne paramapurushe bhaktirutpadyate pumsam shokamoha bhayapaha. Yasyam vai shruyamanayam Krishne paramapurushe bhaktirutpadyate pumsaha shokamoha bhayapaha. Yasyam vai shruyamanayam. If we hear, Krishna Paramapurusha, about whom? About the Supreme Soul Krishna. Bhakti rutpadyate pumsaha. Bhakti will get generated. Shoka moha bhayapaha, which will completely destroy shoka, grief, moha, delusion, ignorance, and bhaya, fear. Madguna shruti matrena mai sarva guhashaye manogatira vicchinna yatha gangam bhasom budhau lakshanam bhakti yogasya nirgunasya hyudahritam ahaitukya vyavahita ya bhakti purushottame. Bhakti has been described like this again. Madguna shruti matrena mai sarva guhashe manogatira vicchinna yatha gangam bhasom budhau lakshanam bhakti yogasya nirgunasya hyudahritam ahaitukya vyavahita ya bhakti purushottame. By mere hearing of my excellences, the mind continuously streams forth like the waters of the Ganga into the sea, unmotivated, unrestricted, and one-pointed towards the Supreme Soul, Purushottama. Shruti matrena, just by hearing. And when that kind of love is manifested, that is called bhakti, nirguna bhakti. So, bhakti is that supreme state of the mind when the mind automatically turns towards the Lord and is firmly fixed at His feet without any motivation. It is like the rivers flowing, like Gangam bhasom budhau, like the Ganga goes towards the Ganga Sagar. It may cross many hills, terrains, valleys, forests, big boulders. Ganga doesn't stop. Rivers do not stop. On the path of the rivers are always going towards the ocean. On the path of the river, many difficulties may come. Boulders, big mountains, valleys, forests, everything. The rivers do not stop. They start going. So our mind should be like this. And when a devotee is like that, then that devotee actually doesn't want anything else. Anything else. It doesn't want anything. It doesn't even want liberation from God, except serving God. Serving God in what form? God is invisible. Whom do we serve then? We serve the whole humankind. Every creature. In everything we find God. In everything we find God then. Whether it is an animal, whether it is human being. So, Parikshit asked the Navayogis. He said, tell me about a Bhagavata. There is no time to chant the shlokas. Chanting the shlokas, they give a lot of joy. But so much time is not there. So I'm just telling you, tell me about a Bhagavata, a devotee of the Lord. Who is asking? Parikshit is asking. Tell me about the Bhagavata, the devotee of the Lord. What way of life he follows? What life he follows? A devotee, when a devotee becomes Ananya Bhakta, Who is an Ananya Bhakta? Don't miss it. Who is an Ananya Bhakta? Whose bhakti is ahaituki, apratihata. That is, bhakti is unconditional, non-motivated and unobstructed. His bhakti is constantly there. So, when a devotee is of that nature, what is his dharma? Atha Bhagavatam bruta yad dharmo yadrisho nrinam yatha charati yad brute yairlingair bhagavat priyaha. So, what is his dharma? What is his nature? What are his characteristics so that he has become dear to the Lord? And how does he move about? In what way he speaks? Why this Raja is asking? Why? Because he wants to become like that. That is what right in the beginning I am saying. When we listen, when we talk, when we read, we should want to become like that. So this Raja Nimi Chakravarti is asking the Navayogis that, oh Yogi, please, you have all come to me. I am so blessed. Please give these replies to me. I want to know. I want to become a true devotee. I want to know what are the ways of life of a true devotee, ways of life of an Ananya Bhakta. What is his nature? How does he behave? How does he walk about? What does he talk? And what are his characteristics? He is asking. So Hari is replying. Out of the Navayogis, the Yogi Hari is replying. Sarva bhuteshu yah pashyed bhagavad bhavamatmanah bhutani bhagavatyatmanyesha bhagavatottamah. What is he saying? So this Navayogi Hari, he is saying, wait Raja, I am going to tell you. You are asking me this. I am going to tell you who is a Bhagavatottama, who is the best of the devotees. Who is a true devotee, best of devotees. So, first thing what he says, Sarva bhuteshu yah pashyed bhagavad bhavamatmanah bhutani bhagavatyatmanyesha bhagavatottama. That is, he who sees Atma in all creatures. You have to see Atma in all creatures. It's not just a sentence. We must make a habit of it. We must not have hatred, dislike for anybody. We must consider everybody too as our own. And why should we not? We belong to God. God alone is. God is everywhere, every time, every moment, surrounding us. He alone is. He alone is. So if he is alone without a second, one without a second, all pervading, he is in every creature. He is in the Panchabhutas, he is in the water, he is in the air, he is in the fire. The whole thing is God's body. Hare Shariram, Hare Shariram. And not only that, everything is the same God, the same Atma. We may read it, we may think about it, we may repeat it, we may tell and give a lecture also, as I am giving. That is not enough. We must realize it. We must realize it. What is that realization? Sarva bhuteshu yah pashyed bhagavad bhavamatmanah bhutani bhagavatyatmanyesha bhagavatottama. Then alone he is a bhagavatottama, best of the devotee, who sees Atma in all creatures as the glory of the Supreme Lord and all creatures in relation to the Supreme Lord. He is a and here he says there are various kinds of devotees, various kinds of devotees. Everybody thinks I am a devotee. As I was saying, everybody thinks I am a devotee. But devotees, the devotee has to be the best of devotee. Bhagavata describes prakrita devotee. What? Those who do puja in the deities. They will do a lot of things. They will accumulate so many things. They will bring so many flowers, so many fruits, so many other items, so much big lamp, lot of incense sticks, lot of havan, feed everybody, lot of show and pomp. Priyate amalaya bhaktya hariranyad vidambanam. Hari doesn't want all that. And he is a prakrita bhakta. When he does that, let him do. There is no harm in that. But if he behaves badly with other creatures, that is, you do not have feelings for others, you are not kind to others, you are not sensitive to others, you do not have friendliness to others, you are angry with people, you insult people, you do not feel their sufferings, whether it is an animal or a human being, then you are a prakrita bhakta. And who is a Bhagavatottama? One who thinks everybody is in God and God is in everybody. Grihitvapi indriyair arthan yona dveshti narhishyati Vishnor mayamidam pashyan savai bhagavatottamaha. So it says, even while engaging in senses, in contact with the objects, that is, we are in the world, our senses are going and getting contacts with various objects, there will be dukkha, there will be sukha, but one neither becomes unhappy, nor he becomes angry. He remains same with everything. He understands that this world is the maya of the Supreme Lord. He is a Bhagavatottama. And along with that, he says, that devotee who considers God to be his everything, depends on him completely, relies on him completely, Vasudevaika nilayaha, that devotee, he is a Bhagavatottama. That is not depending on wealth, property, possession, children, family, house, not thinking that I've got a lot of wealth, so when I am sick, I'll go to a very good hospital, to very good doctors. No. He feels that for everything and everything, I rely on God and God alone. I read, my dear children, I'm saying this, many of you know this, I'm just sharing with you. It is not just to be read and just left at that. One has to make the habit, be very much aware that I have to become like this. I must have that reliance. And ultimately, the one who binds God in his heart. I think my time is getting over. I did not even see when I started because all the time got mixed up. So when I came and sat here, I don't know. Time. I have any time? Kainu. So I have to stop there. Before that, I want to say, no, I have not stopped. I think you want me to get up, so clapping. Okay. Before that, I just want to say one thing. That is, how do we do like this? We are very small devotees. We are not Ananya Bhaktas. We want to become Ananya Bhakta, no doubt. So how should be our everyday? Our everyday is how we behave. We talk, we hear, our mind goes everywhere. We walk. So every day, Vani gunanu kathane shravanau kathayam hastau cha karmasu manastava padayornaha smrityam shirastava nivasa jagat pranave drishtis satam darshanestu bhavattanunam vani gunanukathane shravanau kathayam. So our talk should be to become this Ananya Bhakta. We should bring about a transformation in ourselves, change ourselves. Our talk should be Vani Gunanu Kathane. We should talk about the gunas, the glories of the Lord. Shravanau Kathayam. We should not hear anything else. Yesterday, Nirbhisheshananda Swamiji was saying, Rajasika and Tamasika, we should not give our ear to that. Give to the Sattva gunas. Hear something sattvic. Shravanau Kathayam. We should be hearing the glories and the kathas of God, stories of God, His leelas. Hastau cha karmasu. Whatever work we do with our hand, we should be thinking, we are doing work for God and God alone. He has given us this life. It is because His wish I am living today. Otherwise, this moment, if He feels that this person is not to live, I live. I will die. It is His wish. He gives us our body, our limbs, our senses, our mind, our intelligence, our ego, everything is given by Him. We belong to Him and we live because of Him alone. All our activities are because of that. Hastauja karmasu. So whatever we are doing, it is His work. Whether we are sweeping, we should think, if we are sweeping, we should think that we are sweeping a temple. We should not grumble and sweep. If we are walking, say we are walking just like that, we should think we are taking a pradakshina of a temple, because this whole world is His temple. This Jagat is the temple of God. We should think that, understand that, realize that, and go around it. Our simple walking will become then divinized. Hastauja karmasu manastava padayornaha. And the mind, wherever it goes, let it go anywhere. Whatever work we are doing, wherever it is going, see this. Wherever it goes to the thought of many things, see God there in everything and everything and everything. Our attitudes, our thoughts, our worries, our anxieties, our various kinds of bhavas, emotions, sentiments, everything is from God. Where is He not? Where is He not? So if everything is God, including our body, including our mind, including our intelligence, in our helplessness, in our fear, in our delusion, in our feeling of confusion, indecision, everything is in Him. Can there be anything in which He is not? So, whatever be the condition of the mind, body, intelligence, think that it is He and He alone. Manastava padayornaha. Think that mind is at His feet. And Smrityam shirastama jagat nivasa jagat praname. And thinking that this whole jagat, it is He and He alone. When we think of God, when we go to the temple, automatically we do pranam, pranam, pranam. Why is it that we cannot look at this whole world, this temple, and do pranam like this? Our mind doesn't feel in pranam. We should feel. We should feel Him. And drishtis satam darshanestu bhavattanunam. And seeing all the holy people, we should feel that they are the embodiments of the Lord Himself. This is the one thing that Bhagavatam inspires us to become. To be God, godly, to be divine, to divinize everything, every thought, every speech, every action, and find Him everywhere in this. Savagyaya tasya gunan gunite karauja tat karma karau manascha smarit vasantam sthirajangameshu shinoti tat punya kathasa karnaha shirastu tasyo bhayalingamanamet tadeva yat pashyati tadhi chakshuhu angani vishno ratha tajjananam padodakam yani bhajanti nityam savagyaya dasya gunan grinite. My dear children, just resolve this today, that You will go by this sloka. Sa vagyaya tasya gunan grunite. We are constantly talking. So many things we are chit-chatting. That word is to be called the words and speech which talks about God, not others. That is the mouth. When the mouth talks about God, that is a mouth. Karau cha tat karma karau. When hands do work for him, thinking about him, whether it is a small work, big work, office work, household work, market work, business work, anything. When the hands do some work, think about him, then only hands can be called hands. Manascha smared vasantam sthira jangameshu. And let the mind think about him in whatever is mobile, what is immobile. See, the chair, the table, the mic, the fan, all these are immobile. And you people, all the human beings, the creatures are mobile. In everything you find, smared vasantam sthira jangameshu. Make it a habit, make a resolve that from today onwards we will live our life like this. Remembering this, that we have to become Ananya Bhakta. Just being Bhakta is not enough. Srinoti tat punya katha sakarnaha. When the ear hears that punya katha, then only the ears are dhanya. Shirastu tasyo bhayalinga manamet. And when the mind finds everyone looking at everything, mind falls in prostration, then only that head is head. Tadeva yat pashyati tadhi chakshuhu. I am looking at you. I am looking at the boat. I am looking at the door. I am looking at the lights. I am looking at this camera. When the day I will feel everything, the spurana of the soul, the God, then that chakshu will be dhanya. That will be called the chakshu. Not otherwise. Otherwise it is material. Angani Vishnorata Tajjananam Padodakam Yani Bhajanti Nityam. And when the mind will feel happy to be drenched in the Padodakam, the water with which the holy feet of devotees have been washed, when the mind will feel like getting drenched in that water, then that body is called a body. When the body wants to get drenched by tirtha. Okay? So I stop. I will chant one sloka and Jaya Shankha Gadadhara Neela Kalevara Pita Patambara Dehi Padam Jaya Bhakta Janashraya Mangala Karana Antima Mandhava Dehi Padam Jaya Shankha Gadadhara Neela Kalevara Pita Patambara Dehi Padam. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru.